Welcome to Cinema Activist. I'm your host, John Lyons, and we have returning three-time
Returning
champion,
champion.
Jill Killington.
Hi.
Thanks for coming back.
Thank you for inviting me back. You're awesome, John.
You're awesome. So
So,
we did Meet Jill Killington. We did Meet Mr. and Mrs. Death. And this episode, we're going to just kind of generally talk about the filmmaking industry and specifically independent film. So maybe Jill, we should talk about like what is real independent film because A24 and Neon is not, in my opinion, independent film these days.
well,
What do you think?
there's versions of it. It's like if you're distributed, like if I were to have right now, if I were to sell my movie to A24 or Neon, my movie would still genuinely have been an independent film up until now because we didn't have the financial backing of a company like that. But it's like there's always been a thing called negative pickup where it's like it seems on paper like your movie is not actually being made by a bigger studio or a bigger company, but really you have like the financing being put in place basically the same as a studio system, but on paper it sort of looks like you're making it cheaper. I don't know which movies like going to somebody's books and seeing exactly how they made their movie is revealing, and everybody has the story of like, hey, we got into this film festival, whereas like, come on, that movie was financed by somebody who works at that film festival or was like always arranged to go into that. There's different levels of indie. And so it's just like, Sofia Coppola was an independent filmmaker and is an independent filmmaker, but it's like her means are quite different than like you or I running out
Yeah,
with
she's
cameras and
royalty. She's
but
she's
again, it's
cinema
like
royalty.
God bless her, like all hail the queen. But it's like, it's you can't look at her the same as somebody who's shooting with their friends in the middle of nowhere. There's just different levels of independent, and it's like anyway, that's my opinion on independent. It's like you've gotta there's always a longer story of how these things got made, I guess is my
For
point.
sure. Yeah, it's kind of like, the financing. Honestly, it's the financing, right? Was it a established studio or
Yes.
was it, either from the filmmaker or producers seeking private individual investment or loans or grants or whatever? That's kind of how I draw the line now. I think when I was growing up, it was like if it was produced by, the Weinstein Company or whatever. They called that independent and like
Right, and then there's
Blumhouse.
independent where it's Robert Rodriguez doing medical experiments to get $7,000 to make a movie in
Yeah,
Mexico, which is more
that's
like
truly
that's truly independent, and it's like I have personally been broke enough to have signed up for medical studies, but the day before check-in, I always like something else happens where I don't have to do it. So thank God I've
damn.
never actually signed up for the pharmaceuticals because I don't respond well to pharmaceuticals. That's probably why they wouldn't want me because I'm gonna tell you every pill, "Don't take it. Don't take it."
Damn. The timing of having this conversation is interesting because Jill and I just recently came across an article that was in Vulture, right? And it was called The Unglamorous Financial Realities of Five Indie Filmmakers. And then also at the same time, this is at the backdrop of, Obsession has been a very successful independent film. As far as we know, it's independent. And there was a post by the art director on social media about her rate being the art director on that feature. And Jill and I were talking offline that, I made a film for 300,000. I'm not sure what Jill's was at, but I would guess it's probably
My
under
movie
a
was made
million.
mostly on favors and deals with, like, long-term friends, and I don't wanna call it begging, but it's just like a a trust with me and my crew that like, "Hey, we're in this together. I'm cutting you in for equity if this should happen to do well." And I think that's sort of the difference. It's like my art department was basically one guy and sometimes some other friends who we'd hire on his hands. And it's like my production designer slash art director slash several people, he was making my good friend Rico Horta, he was making less than that art director. And so again, it's like as an indie filmmaker, you're somewhere between a passion project where everybody's showing up out of passion for this. And it's like, that's part of why I scheduled my movie in December and January to shoot, because it's typically a slower time for crew. So it's like, it was kind of a game of tag in football where it's like, hey, somebody couldn't make it today in the grip department. Okay, we have to sub in somebody else. Okay, same thing with like my ACs, my DP and her camera operator were there every day or steady cam. But it's like, otherwise, it's like a lot of people came in and out. Like our gaffer, luckily, we had almost the entire time. I guess we lost him for like half of the very last day. But otherwise, like we had Chris Hill the entire time. It's just, you got to do what you got to do to get a movie made. And to
Yeah.
me, the way to do business now is have people truly invested in your projects. So my crew is, I mean, almost everybody's getting points. And I think, yeah, it's you got to cut people in. And I think that's why she was upset. And it's like the other thing is, it's like, okay, if you're a movie like Obsession and you sell for a high price at the festival, then I guess like everybody gets their cut in there. But it's like they would not necessarily get in the $100 million of the box office because that's a separate deal. So it's like
Right.
it really is. We've all got to be careful what deals we're making with our time, our energy, our creativity right now. That's my take on that. As
No,
a working professional who has gambled a whole lot of my career on passion projects and on my own right now, you know?
was it Ben Affleck and Matt Damon that kind of started this model with Netflix, or has this
I
been going
hear,
on for a long?
unfortunately, that that's mostly performative, and that's why it's like me doing equity on my own project, like, and being in charge of, like, seeing how the money goes. I wanna see how people get paid. Like, I wanna see how there was always the mystery of what the above the line people are making to me when I
Yeah,
was working on projects. And so it's like, for once, I am the line. I'm at the top, like figuring it out.
yeah,
I don't know. But yeah, it's a nice idea. It's like, it's the way businesses are ideally structured, the 50-50, where 50% of goes to the crew and then the other 50 goes to the investors. So
yep. That's how we did Unearth, but I'm structuring this stuff this time differently so that I can make sure that I make my investors happy faster. So I kind of made it more traditional, I guess, this time around. But
what does that mean?
that the waterfall is like all investors until they're paid back. The waterfall for Unearth was 50-50 from the start.
I see.
And I think that was a little too favorable to the produced, like the crew side. But to your point, and to this story about Obsession, or I guess this post, not a story, this post about the Obsession crew member, that's contracts, right? That you work out well ahead of time. So I guess it's like kind of lesson learned for everyone. If we can, on the indie side, make this something that's standard in a contract, to your point, and do things like you did, maybe it can be something like the film sells for or does box office of like whatever 2x the budget or something like that, then the waterfall can change to help out the crew. Just so long as we're thinking about the crew, and if something explodes and does a great job, I think this is kind of like lesson learned for all of us of how can we do things better, because I
Look,
can
we're all
understand.
negotiating our deals all the time.
Yeah,
It's like, it's unfortunate, but like you have to protect yourself and your time when you're taking a job, when you're like saying what you want out of it. It's just like, I think it's a healthy way of operating to just say, I want more. I
yeah,
want to, you know, if I'm going to work really hard on something, it would be nice to believe that you get points. But that's the thing. It's like, on one of the first days of shooting my movie, I sat down with my gaffer who was like, oh my, he works with Sean Baker. He works with all these great people. Chris Hill's a very well known indie gaffer, but his specialty is kind of like a South Florida strip club look. Like he
mm,
gaffed Zola and Honora. And
nah,
like, anyway, so, but I said to him, I was like, you worked on so many successful indies. you must be seeing reward from your points because he has, points on my movie." And he's just like, "I never get that because it all depends if it's net or gross." And I was just like, "See, since I'm kind of in charge of this deal, I feel beholden to my crew where it's like, I want to see everybody make good on this." It's like, yes, I stand to make money on my movie, but it really is like if everybody is mad at me because I made
Yep.
a whole bunch of money and they sweated so hard for me,
Yep.
do I really win? I wanna see and work with these people again. I had an amazing time shooting my movie.
Yeah.
So, that's sort of like, how do you wanna operate in your life and your business is the question with everybody right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. We have to be the change. So it's cool that there's more and more people that are thinking this way, and we should be thinking this way. Because we've heard so many stories about Hollywood accounting and so many people getting fucked, like on tons of marketing costs and things and,
I've
other
only I've
surprises.
I've I've had a weird time in my career, like, where it's like, wow, I'm working on like $100 million project, but yet there's never enough money for this and that. And it's like, I'm making good money on this for once, but then there was years where I wasn't. So it's like it all starts to feel like, okay, this is compensation for that. I don't know exactly what the answer is on this, and that's why I'm trying my best to figure out how to finance things with, like, as honest as I can money and then shoot at cost and, like, when I get a favor, repay it, because
Yep.
it's like I cashed in on a lot of favors I built over the course of my career, and I've also been talking for years about how, like, "Okay, there's gotta be a better model for this, like, I'm gonna make this indie movie called Mr. and Mrs. Death, like, would you be willing to help with this? Would you be willing to help with that?" So it's like I know who to call and can get amazing deals, but it's like again, you've got to pay back these favors and stay in business. Like that's the weird thing about making an indie movie. It's like once I realized like wow, you go to the business trouble of starting this LLC and it's like it doesn't have very much credit because you're just starting out a new company and it's like it's not going to make its money back for maybe a year or more or maybe
Yep.
never. It's like, "Oh, this is why somebody who's successful can rinse and repeat. I want to be that because it's like just the trouble of starting this every time. And then also as a filmmaker, hey, I've got a new script. Who wants to make this? Okay, I finally have the money. Who's my crew? It's like rinse and repeat is the idea that works with business. So
It's good to have these conversations. I don't know Curry Barker or his, family or the situation or anything at all, but it is kind of tough. And they're not really going at the filmmaker, right? Like the post isn't really going at the filmmaker, but like the deals are already done, the deals are signed, and it's kind of like one of those things of like, oh man, had I known that this film's going to make so much money in hindsight, right? Hopefully it's an educational experience for all independent crews going forward, and it's a good discussion for all of us to have. Because to your point, and looking at the numbers on, Obsession was made for $750,000. It's projected to make $250 million. And yeah, when you look then going back to when you were on set and you're making $300 a day. Yeah, now it feels like, well, damn, I could have made a lot more, but it's
I
really
mean,
hard.
but that's the problem. It's like in LA, working on feature films and TV used to be very, very lucrative. Netflix, all these streaming services started giving away for free what used to cost ad money to watch on television. You used to have to pay to go to a movie theater to see something. Otherwise, it would be like 3 or 4 months. And sorry, you didn't get to see this in the theater and you won't see it for months. So it's like
Yeah,
then you got to wait for the DVD to come out. It's just like the entire delivery system of movies has changed. The
yeah,
entire delivery system of, like, ideas has changed, and so it's like, of course, it's had a financial effect on how much it costs to make a movie, but that's why it's like somebody like me where it's like, "Hey, I know all these, like, amazing artists who have been working in films for so many years come hang out with me for a few days, shoot my movie that's, all kind of fun scenes to do where it's like we're shooting in a strip club, we're doing shootouts, we're doing big dramatic, trying to kill each other scenes. It's like, it's not the worst offer. It's like I only had a couple of overnight kind of shoots where we're out in the woods and my crew was very miserable because we didn't have like a lot of the nice amenities that you have to make crewing out in the woods as cushy as Hollywood really
yeah.
does. we had a Keurig machine out there that worked, and we ordered Raising Cane's chicken that night to try and raise morale. It's like
Yep.
it's making movies has always been hard, but the financial payback of making a movie has never been more uncertain. And so that's why it's like for me, I want to enjoy the process of making the movie. I want all of us to be very optimistic about the possibilities of this movie and actually invested. And then it's
Yep.
like, I'd love for the movie to be good at the end too. It's like, that's why it's like, I'm stoked because it's like my movie was so independent. I get final cut. I get to decide who I'm selling to. I chose my entire crew and like loved every one of them, it's just like, and would work with them
Yeah,
again. It's just like, a different way of doing business versus like, "Oh my god, we're miserable to be here. Oh, this director's an idiot. Oh, I hate this project." It's like, "No, like, let's actually enjoy our lives and make something we all kinda think is cool." I'm just saying, I'm trying to make a cool movie. It was at least a cool time shooting it. I we're doing our rough cuts now. It's coming out really fun and great, and so it's just like, I'd love to be able to rinse and repeat this, because I know how to make a movie at cost, but yeah, I don't know the exact answer. It's like everybody I want people to feel like they're treated fairly. It's the first time in my life I've had the chance to try and be the boss and do this, It's just
yeah,
like, I don't know. I don't know what the exact answer is, but we all gotta try and find it all the time, right?
for sure. Yeah, I think for, probably the non-creatives, non-artists that listen to this, maybe some of it will be a surprise because we've kind of glamorized this industry for so long, and we just think of, like, the big name stars and the director, with their cap on and their, you know, their megaphone, and, like, it's also very working class in a sense of, like, it's a small village, and you're really, like, it's all grit and determination and stamina, and right? It's not
Well, it's like
it's
you've
not
gotta
glamorous.
bootstrap it if you're an indie filmmaker, like, you've gotta keep people up with the vision, you've gotta find the financing to make the movie, you gotta keep people showing up day after day under hard conditions and, like, convince them to, "Hey, everybody, we're staging a shootout in a closet today." And we're gonna have some problems because some people are in this line of the closet, some people are in that line of the closet. And it's like the thing I was so adamant about in my movie was like having a door that had gunshots with like the really good light streaming through, like in Near Dark and like old Peck and
Mm,
Paw movies where it's like
yeah.
because you can do that physical effect very easily and then also sweeten it up in post. But it was just like, that was a wonderful day of shooting. But it's also technically, hey, half of our crew is crouching in a real life closet that belongs to the homeowner who's downstairs. It's not a set. We're all literally crouching real small in the corner of a closet. And it's just like that happens on the biggest budget movie shoots too, though. Like that's what filmmaking is. You have to be prepared to deal with certain conditions to get a certain effect. And so it's like, have all my paychecks been fair? No. Have all of my paychecks come in on time? Have I had to fight for a lot of them? Yes. Like it's just like you have to fight your way every day in life. And indie filmmaking is just the next level of that.
And we all love it, right? We might all be masochists or something, but it's the most expensive art form. I think probably immersive theater is probably the second most expensive, but it's
I
so
think that
expensive.
will actually I think immersive theater is gonna stay just as expensive. Between my work with AI and, like, knowing that we can work in gray studios now and bring down the cost of shooting a whole lot and still work with live actors, I think the price and literal cost of what it takes to work on a film is gonna get easier for people. It's just, like, what's gonna get
Fingers
eyeballs and
crossed.
people are gonna be interested. I mean, it's we're doing it right now, but it's just, like, it really is, like, you can make a movie faster, cheaper, and better than ever before if you're so willing, and the same thing with immersive theater. But, yeah, immersive theater, because you have to do it again over and over and over, unless you're filming it, which, again, we
Mhm.
should talk about that, but it's, like, it really is, like, how do you keep things going is, like, the business question always.
Yeah, for all of these things. What we're kind of alluding to is that, it's not all fun and games in filmmaking, even though, as you said, we try and do the best that we can as producer directors, to make sure that we're taking care of our people, everyone's happy. I mean, when we did Unearth, it was just an 18-day shoot. It was 3 weeks, 6 days a week. It was a lot of hours. Sometimes it was 12-hour days, and that's really difficult on people, and we've specifically budgeted out an extra week for the Holy Ghost just so that we can work people normal hours.
Yeah, I personally try to keep my crew to 10 hours. Like, there always ends up being, like, more time for, like, grip and electric and gaff kind of people to
Yeah.
reset and load in and out, but it's by shooting an actual 10 and releasing people as much as possible. Again, that's part of the way because it's like we 300 a day is a lot, it turns out, okay? Like, I was paying people less, unfortunately, and it's like, again, being
Yeah, it's
cognizant
like
of
30
that.
bucks an hour. That's not bad.
It's not bad, but again, it's like on my crew, it's not bad. You know what I mean? It's like, but I'm not gonna push them that hard because it's like, again, we're pushing hard very, very creatively. I shoot 2 cameras is my other thing. Getting people in the room is the most time-consuming thing.
Mm,
By having 2 cameras and then also everything very planned out and rehearsed, we go as fast as possible. We don't do an inordinate number of takes. I try to not do incredibly complex shots, but I am doing longer takes to capture performance. So you got to figure out how you can get away with anything in life. You know, it's like
yep.
this is the actual question. It's like, how am I going to get away with this? Structure your plan accordingly.
Yeah, and you even hear from, like, very well-known filmmakers that there's never enough time and never enough
There's
money,
never enough
so
time and never enough money, so figure it out is always the equation. That's but again, there's people with plenty of time and plenty of money, and that's why everybody will come back and work for them over and over. Like, it's funny, like, I started seeing, like, a lot of people now are starting to complain that Fincher was torturing people slightly. Again,
right,
I'm
yeah,
exaggerating, but it's like, "Oh my god, 30 takes, 50 takes, 99 takes." The editor said they often end up using the first take. Yes. Yes, you do. However, I agree with Fincher's idea that, like, once you get all these people in a room and it costs so much to get them there, why not push the possibilities over and over as far as you can? Understanding that's the construct that he directs under, you
yeah,
know that going in, you
yeah,
can determine, do you wanna work with David Fincher like that? Do you want those long days and, like, to search for perfection? Or do you wanna, like, see what you get quickly? Which unfortunately is the plan I'm on right now where it's like, I would love to have more time to perfect and
huh,
perfect and perfect, but I do
sure,
feel like this click moment where it's like, I have it, when I know I've got it enough that, like, it's there and I'm feeling the emotional connection. So it's like, there's different ways, but it's also part of that is me knowing I don't have much time. I've gotta go for it as well as I can in the time I have. So I don't
yeah.
know, you've gotta figure out how you're gonna get away with anything.
So how about from a Los Angeles perspective, right? Because, there's a lot of stories about how film production has had gone down, and now with, the resurgence of more independent productions, it seems to be going back up. But what would you say is the climate over the last, say, like 2 or 3 years and today that you think?
I mean, the strikes ruined lives, to be honest, and but it's like that was a lot of people left town. A lot of people left town. A lot of people are coming back because it's just like, well, you tried to go to Atlanta and production is left there and, like, slowed down there quite a bit. People tried to go to Austin and it's like, oh, by the time you adjust for the cost of living in a new place and it's slightly less, but you're making less money. In the past few months, there is a feeling of new possibility in LA and everybody's working and shooting and doing something. But the strikes closed things down really terribly for a couple of years. And right now, we're just in a restructure where a lot of people are still unemployed. People who I knew who were on TV shows and movies for years, like nonstop. These production companies are just going and going and going. All of a sudden, these deals just ended. And it was just like being on the end of a conveyor belt and just falling off for so many people. But either
Uh,
fortunately or unfortunately, I already went through that a few years back and had to figure out, like, okay, how do you get your health insurance when you're not working on WGA projects anymore? I was doing consulting and working on a bunch of NDA kind of stuff. And so it's just like, okay, I'm still making income, but I'm not on the traditional trajectory. So you just have It's always like, how do I get away with this? My advice is always ask as many as possible. How are you getting away with this? How are you doing right now? I tend to listen to the people who are getting away with it versus the people who are like, I don't know what to do. I'm never going to make a movie. I got to move out of town. I'm just like, okay, if that's what you think, that is what you will get. I'm always looking for the how do I get away with the thing I want to do. For
Yeah.
me, I can go make movies in other places, and I have, but I want to make indie filmmaking sustainable here because there's so much talent, and the crews and the equipment are all here. And so all these people who go to other states to get a tax credit, they're missing out on the talent. And for me, I'd be missing out on the favors because like I said, I can call any friend to come help on a movie for a day when we're yes, we're making like a very low flat rate, but you get to go home at night, you work for 10 hours, you had a good time, you made some memories, and you might be making a cool movie. And who knows, if you get cut in for points, you might be making money on the back end. So it's just like
Yep.
what's not to like? It's a whole plan.
Yeah, and
But yeah,
honestly,
it's
like,
just everything's changed. I didn't think I'd have to be like this. I thought I was perfectly happy being a W-2 worker, but then I wasn't getting as much work that way. And it's like then I had to start an S corp because it's like part of being like, a writer, producer, director. It's like, okay, I've got to find a way. I make a whole bunch of money sometimes, and then other times I'm not making as much. How do you work this tax wise? How do you start to like save? I've just had to become a fucking businesswoman, and I didn't intend for that. I just wanted to work and be an artist, but you gotta be in business. So here I am.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think our previous conversations have really informed this, and I hope that people listen to the previous ones too, where you talked about, volunteering your time and helping out as much as you could on other productions and writing gigs, and you kind of like found your way by being a person that would be reliable and dependable and would step up for your friends when they needed things and when you were starting out. And so when you get to the point of like being able to make your own first feature, then hopefully those people return the favor that you've been, helping them with for years. And that's how it should work, right? To have a good community. It's really hard to just be like, "Oh, why won't anybody, like, make my movie, or why won't anyone be on my crew,"
There's a
or whatever.
solution for that too. It's called Higgsfield Seed Dance. Like, there's so many online solutions. If you want to become a solo, don't talk to anybody, just release online filmmaker, you can do it now. But for me, the collaborative process is so much of it. It's just like making memories and making movies and finding the story together, finding the performances together. Like, the excitement of everybody bringing something special to a movie is what I enjoy. Like, where it's just like, oh my God, can you believe this crazy prop that changed the entire scene? It's because we got this thing right. It inspired the actors, it inspired the camera work. Oh, now costumes is into it. They've done something to match this. And it's just like, it's like a band where you get to like jam together and make
Yeah,
something cool. That
it's magic.
ideally has it's always been the funnest part of filmmaking, and it's been a very lucrative profession for the past 100 years, but the past few years it has not been as lucrative. And so it's just like weeding out who loves to do this, who's willing to overcome challenges, who's willing to keep going even when it's not perfect. That's the interesting thing I see on indies right now. I had a friend who was working on indie where everybody went on strike and we're protesting conditions. And that happens a lot on indies because, it's you're already making so little money when you're also being treated unfairly or in a
Yeah.
dangerous situation. You've got to do something. And thankfully that hasn't happened on my productions because people talk to me about the issues and we come together and our team is great and we figure out like a way past things. We had so little money and so little time and people were coming through. When I made my movie, I prayed every day for 5 miracles or more to help us get through the film. And it's like every day I got 5 miracles or more. And most of them, like I said, was my production designer, Rico. He built a strip club out of nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, but then the actors were building characters in front of you and making magic. And then the magic compounds. When you're making a movie, it's a force field of ideas. Like that's a James Cameron quote. You want to make all the ideas shape and work together. The force field of ideas all goes out to the audience when it's done, right? So it starts with your crew. And so by having people who want to be there, who want to contribute, who are enjoying the entire process, it really is like labor of love. That's why people call movies that people worked on like this a labor of love, because you only do this because you actually care. We live in a world where people are starting to do more labors of love instead of just like, oh, this is another bland sequel with no love in it. Everybody's just collecting a payday. They hated this a long time ago. It's like a lot of people who worked on my crew work very steadily in verticals, but they were happy to come on indie because they're getting paid the same rate they are in verticals a lot of the time because those don't pay so well. And then also it's like, oh, well, we might actually be proud of this.
Uh-huh.
It's
And
like a
working with
whole
people they
idea.
like. Working with
Yes.
people they like and they know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and that takes a while too, right? Like finding your group, your crew, all of this takes time and takes a lot of work, and I think, that's part of it too and speaks to your experience and your story
I
coming up.
mean, I have to thank my crew. It's just like my director of photography, Rihanna
All good.
Rossamy. She's incredible, and she works so much that she was also able to help build the crew and really, really, like I said, we were working over January and December, so we had to keep on switching out people, and we never had like a real hole in the crew. Like everybody showed up. It was just like, okay, we always have, because like I said, we had two cameras, so we had two first ACs. And so it's just like keeping all of that going. I got very, very lucky. Like I said, 5 miracles a day, we
Mhm.
got away with making the movie.
Yeah, it is a miracle. Actually, making a pulling off a feature film independently is a
In
miracle.
general, make most movies aren't great. And it's just like it is hard to put together a crew, it is hard to put together a story, it is hard to pay it all off, it's hard to get eyeballs. Like some of my favorite movies I've ever seen, were long after the release, long after, I just found them, whether it was like on an old VHS or I heard about it from somebody or I got dragged to a revival screening. It's just like, I'm really trying to make things that like will find an audience over time and that people will remember and love. And these are my goals. And so at least when I talk to people, it's like I'm not just talking about like this movie that I'm directing and you got to hear all about the movie I'm directing. Yes, I talk about that. I'm definitely like very like into my stories. But I also talk about us and like what we can accomplish together because it's just like
Yeah.
anything is possible now. Like look at us. Like I've never met you in person, and it's like we're talking to other people that possibly I've never met in person, and it's like, and who knows, maybe I make a bunch of friends this way. People want to send money for me to make more movies because I would love that, by
Oh,
the
yeah.
way. Like, I might as well do a call to action while we're here, where it's
Mhm.
like, look, if you got movies, either ideas, financiers, like if you're interested in making movies, let's talk because I know how to get away with things. I can make deals nobody else can, it turns out. And then, yeah, I've been at this long enough where whether you want to make a movie in AI or you want to go and run and gun and shoot as cheap as you can, or you want to take it where it's like, hey, we're doing this all SAG, we're doing this all union, everybody is a union, and then we're going to hire an ace editor. Like, we're going to do this the old school as if we're, good old fashioned Universal Studios making movies that way. I can work at all these different levels, and I'm very passionate about telling stories and want to connect people and make people actually feel something as opposed to just, I don't know. I don't like sports. I like plot, but I really care about character and story more so. So here I am. I love movies and I'll make them with anything you give me, you know.
Hell yeah. Rah, rah. I'm the same way, and I love the creative process too, like you were saying before, like, that's where it's at. That's the energy that keeps me going. Obviously, you and I are both I mean, I'm assuming you're an optimist with this kinda stuff, but there is a lot of people that have become jaded and have, that negative energy, and I don't know if you've ever encountered them on set, but I certainly have, and, it can potentially derail because as you're saying, you're all, like, it's a miracle you're all together and you're making this thing, and it's against all of the odds, and the tide can kind of change on the crew if you've got a couple
Oh,
people that
yeah,
are, like, poisoning the waters, right? And
absolutely.
I feel like when, when this Vulture article came out, that I referenced before, that you and I both probably had thoughts on it, and it is if you haven't, already put it together, if you're not a filmmaker listening to this, it is really, really, really fucking hard to make a movie of any kind, and that can wear on you, right, over time, that can grind you down, you can be burned, you can be, paid late a lot and not respected and taken advantage of, and I think this article,
But that's true of all of life. Like, I
all of
was a
life.
little girl that read books and dreamed of moving to Hollywood and making movies. And lo and behold, I worked on a Stephen King adaptation that cost over $100 million and had a whole bunch of amazing movie stars. And I went and shot this movie, or sorry, TV show, limited event series is what it was called. It's like 9
Mhm.
episodes total. But it's like based on my favorite book I read when I was like 12, 13 years old. And it's just like I remember every moment of reading that book. I remember how I pictured it the first time. And it's like to go to the sets and be on set with all these people that also read that book and also like dreamed of working on projects like this that they truly love. I knew if I could do that, that I could figure out how to make indie movies next. And
Yeah,
so it's like I've done that. It took me more years. It took me so much more work than I ever thought it would be. But at the same time, it's like there's some quote where it's just like, don't try to become a millionaire. Don't try to be successful. Do it all for the person that you become. If you don't enjoy the work aspect of like an art form, if you want to be a great guitarist, you better love how much your fingertips hurt. You
yeah,
better love like hearing yourself bad before you get good. To make a movie, you're going to deal with people you don't like sometimes. You're going to be up real late working on an edit way that's like stressing you out and your shoulders are burning and like I have so many weird neck issues and so many tools to work with them because it's like I'm on my computer all the time
yeah,
pushing forward my career, pushing forward like these ideas. If you don't dig all that, probably do something else because it's
yeah,
just like that's the process. I had to learn to enjoy talking to people more than like my little hermit writer self wanted to because it's like you can make books without talking to people. Guess what? They're probably not going to read them. If you want to make them into movies like I do, then you better talk to people about all of this because like that's what this is right now. It's just like let's talk about how to get things done. Is
yeah,
my approach to everything now. What do you want to do? Cool, let's figure out how to do it, is like my idea.
yeah,
Here's what I wanna do. How can we help each other? I think that's like the healthy way of doing business from now on.
100%. I'm much older than you. I am 49 now, and I don't have the time or the patience to deal with negativity and negative people and naysayers. It's kind of like, "Okay, I get that, that's you, but I'm gonna I'm gonna find the people, that wanna come along for the ride and love film and wanna do this
That's
for the love
but
of."
this is what I'm
Yeah,
saying, it's like when I started out, all of this was crazy. When I was like a little girl living in Atlanta, Georgia, and I wanted to make movies, they're like, "Honey, you're never gonna move out to California and make movies," and it's just like, prove them
damn.
wrong on that. And by the way, Atlanta became the filmmaking capital of the world, and I moved out of there, and I didn't move my ass back because, again, I love Atlanta. I'm here in LA to stay, baby.
Yeah,
I'm rebuilding Hollywood right now rather than like, my God, one of my beloved crew members, my first AD, Jim, they are keen on making movies in Winnipeg. And I'm like, I
okay.
will at some point go with you to Winnipeg and make a movie, Jim. Same time, I did not get into this like and gotta get to Winnipeg and then that's it. Again, no shade on Winnipeg, I haven't been yet, to be honest,
Same.
but it's still like, I'm in the California sunshine, the beach is right there, the mountains are right there, it's like, it's sunny all the time, I got places to wear my cool outfits, I got very shallow priorities
No,
sometimes.
it's part of it, right? Like,
It's
it's
why
you're
I
in.
did
You're
this!
living it. You're living it. It's the life
It's you gotta
the
make your
life
choices here, and it's like, okay, I could do 4 weeks in Winnipeg for a shoot. Do I wanna do that over and over and over? Try and win me, Winnipeg, let's see.
Well, I'm gonna get you out to Pennsylvania sometime to work on
I
something.
have literally I love Benjamin Franklin, that's, like, one of my all-time heroes in life. Not that I ever met Mr. Benjamin Franklin, I'm as you said, I'm not that old. But
I just for the record, I have not met Benjamin Franklin either.
neither
I
one of
just
us,
wanna
we'd
put
love
that
I
out
would
there.
love to, though. If time travel exists, or if I actually literally programmed my own Benjamin Franklin AI, like, chatbot long ago.
Damn.
I get it. He was like my first one in like 2023, I think was when you could first do chatbots. I did an Alfred Hitchcock, where the minute I literally programmed an Alfred Hitchcock AI chatbot, and I'm just sitting there asking it, how do I rate great horror? What are the things I should be doing? Like just trying to get some life advice.
Yeah.
Weirdest shit that's ever happened to me. Literally for no reason, my freezer door just opens on my fridge. And I was just
Whoa.
like, Hitch, is that you? Magic.
That's
But yeah,
awesome.
it wasn't a great chatbot though, like, it was, like, early on. Maybe I should reprogram it now, but anyway, I'm that was a total aside. But point is, I'll try anything twice. I tried 2 great chatbots. But yeah, someday I will come to Philadelphia, or sorry, you're in Erie, Pennsylvania, but yes, I think of Benjamin Franklin because Pennsylvania, and the Liberty Bell is the only time I've ever been to Pennsylvania.
All
So I'm
right.
I'm due for another trip.
We'll put it on the list. We'll find the right project.
We will.
Would is there anything else you wanted to say about this Vulture article? I know you sent me some comments. I don't know if you wanna share any of those publicly, but, I mean,
I don't even remember what I said.
you can understand, like, I'm sure anyone in the industry can understand where these people are coming from for sure. Burnout is a real thing, and, I think something that saves me not being in California is that I can jump in and I can jump out and I can kinda like your comments to Winnipeg and Pennsylvania, you can go there for a project and you can come back. I kind of like, that I have the freedom to work outside of it, but I do understand, like, if you're in it all the time, it probably is very difficult for a lot of people to be in that climate and that environment. And I do think some of the comments were, I don't know, a little bit like, that they've kind of fallen for the magic and the glamour again of Hollywood and not the reality of, like, this is a craft and it's like a woodworker or a painter or anyone. Like, yeah, you can maybe do a painting that, you'll be famous for, but most of the time it's for the love of the art and for an outlet for yourself and a way for you to feel like, it's breathing and it's our life force, right? Making art and making film. We're not necessarily doing this to become like famous people. We're doing it because we're storytellers, because we're empaths, because we want to envision the world in a different way or make a comment on the world as it is. And we use our art form to tell stories and entertain and educate. Whatever the reason is, it's not necessarily to get rich or, you know, what am I saying, Jill?
I'm saying I am in this to get rich because if it's so
Okay.
much work to do all of this,
Yeah.
I might as well figure out how to get rich at the same time so I can keep on doing it. Like, that's the
Got it.
thing. It's like being a
So
starving
rich
artist,
in the
you will
industry
eventually stop
or
being an artist if you are starving. Like, that is the facts. That is what I realized several times. That's why my career is like not changed. It has gone with the ebbs and flows. It's like for a while, I was a commercial actor. I was making very good money that way. It's not the same as it was then. I didn't feel like continuing on that path. Oh, I'm doing editing work. Oh, I'm a studio screenwriter. Ooh, this is like very uncertain. Like I saw somebody online complaining about how many pitches you have to do to get paid as a screenwriter a lot of the time. It's like so often people will not buy your pitches or they'll ask you to pitch competitively on a project. And you spend all this time going to the last second of like, am I going to actually get this job? The project may get canceled. The project may choose, they may choose somebody else. All that work goes down the drain. Sometimes they'll actually buy like a small idea from you and like, you'll actually get paid that way, which is
Okay.
at least there's some compensation. But
Yeah.
so often that's a whole lot of work and it's months of it and nothing comes of it. I'm a big believer in like, let's make this all as productive as possible. Hey, instead of getting me to screenwrite an idea right now, why don't I also produce it in AI with Gen Viz? And then that way we can plan out the production, know exactly how much everything will cost, how many days we need. It's basically a way of shot listing and storyboarding in advance and pre-editing. It's basically previs. Or
Mhm.
we can actually shoot on grayscale and get everything done that way. It's getting easier and easier to make movies. What's not as easy and clear is exactly how it pays off. But that's why it's like finding people who do this for the love of the game, people who have some incentive, like they want to grow their careers, they want to work with you. For my movie, Mr. and Mrs. Death, we cast Ray Wise as the older gentleman that the young Bonnie and Clyde couple are trying to kill. I literally, when I was trying to get crew to come work on my movie, it's like, "Hey, are you a Twin
Huh.
Peaks fan?" It basically became a bespoke Twin Peaks experience because 'cause you're getting
Awesome.
to hang out in a closet with Leland Palmer, and it's like my gaffer, Chris Hill, is like a huge Twin Peaks fan, and I, like, looked at him on set one day, and I was just like, "You come on. You've got, like, the greatest fan experience right now because it's like we're hanging out with Ray Wise, he's singing songs from Twin Peaks to us, and it's like we
No
all
shit.
were jazzed. We were jazzed on it, man. Like literally, like the
Man.
last day of shooting with him, almost everybody on the crew was wearing a Twin Peaks shirt by that time, like on the very last day. But we were all sneaking it in. Like I wore a RoboCop shirt one day. Everybody's wearing like their Twin Peaks gear. And I was too stressed out directing and producing to actually dig up my Twin Peaks shirts. I was like, come on, I know I have at least an Owls one over here somewhere. I couldn't find it. But it's like, that was a literal like, "Hey, that was a boost for those crew members." There are other days of shooting where the boost is that it's a strip club all day today. Guess what? Jill has a lot of really cool strippers that are real life, beautiful people who will just like, to warm up, they'll just be twerking that day,
Wow.
while they're working.
Alright.
And again, we're having a great time shooting. Everybody's like having fun. That's its reward. You gotta find your rewards where you can get them, John.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
my message.
Yeah, I
What
mean,
did
I think
David Lynch said it. Every day you gotta treat yourself, It's like he
yeah,
said that under Dale Cooper, where it's like, every day give yourself a gift. It's like, that's what I try to do with my life. I try to give people gifts.
yeah. No, that's right. I think it's good having us have this conversation, you being moving your whole life and, going into the rat race and doing it, and me, chicken shit, staying in, Pennsylvania and working like a full-time, IT job during the day, and then all of my evenings and weekends and my vacation time goes towards film, immersive theater, like, that's
But again,
you know
that's not chicken shit. Like, it really is like, it sucks a lot of the time. Believe me, there was many, many years where it's just like, "Oh, wow, I've gone too far in this direction to, like, back out now." It's basically like I have this lovely habit of painting myself in a corner and then figuring out how to get out of that corner, and you do have to kinda wait for the paint to dry to paint yourself out of a corner
Yeah,
sometimes. But it's
yeah,
like, really, as I said, I felt like growing up, I was in a locked room with no doors. I had to learn to draw a door. Okay. Draw a doorknob, open the door, and leave and do something else. It's like, I managed to do that. I can
yeah,
figure out the rest of this. And it's like, you can too. Like making movies, like I said, is easier than ever. It's like it's cheaper than ever. Before, you had to have a rich dentist, a rich uncle, somebody who believed in you, like some weird carny way of getting your movie made. Now you can do GoFundMe's. Now you can start putting stuff out online and seeing who responds and like starting to fundraise that way. There's so many options. There's no reason for despair. We are heading into an indie boom. That's
Yeah.
I mean, it's starting now, and it's like it's so gratifying for me because I am in the hard part of making a movie where it's like, okay, we've already shot, we've already financially sunk everything in that we can, and it's like now we got to edit our way out of this. And it's like I said, it's just like, okay, I've painted myself in corners before. Wait for the paint to dry. Have your plan to get out. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the takeaway is, whether you are in Los Angeles and you're, feeling down, maybe take a little break, right? Like maybe,
Maybe you'd
change
enjoy doing
location.
something else. Like, that is literally the advice that, like, most artists give, where it's just like, "Would you enjoy doing anything else? You should probably do that." You
Yeah.
know? It's just like, it's just the truth.
Yeah, I would hate to hate it, right? Like, I would hate to hate filmmaking. That sounds like what would I be doing with like, what would I have to look forward to? Like, honestly, like, not working on a creative project sounds awful. So, yeah, if I'm burnout, yeah, take a little break, recharge the batteries, and maybe, going offlining from filmmaking, maybe you'll be inspired by, some new
There's so
ideas.
many ways to be creative right now, you know? It's like you can do things on your phone, you can do things with friends, like, there's just so many levels of filmmaking. Like, that's the thing that's unfortunate. There's gonna be a lot of people who just do this for the love of the game and then
Yeah.
make money out of it, like, that's what YouTube is, you know? It's just like
Yep.
people are just making, like, little skits, and then it evolves and evolves because the more you do something, the better you get, and then that's the process of being an artist, you know? It's just like
Yeah.
it's not like you do one thing and it all pays off then. It's sure that happens, you know? It's like, sure, there's Steven Spielberg does Jaws, and then, like but then that explodes into, like, because of him, you have George Lucas and him making Indiana Jones, just, like, everything compounds. So
Yeah.
I say make movies on your phone. I finally put them away. Did you know I use action figures for my
Cool.
storyboards?
Awesome.
I literally bought, like I'll send you pictures. You can get kind of, like, bespoke dolls for, like, for a good, like, $60 or so, you can make, like, 1/6 action figures
Uh,
size scale, dolls, and I would use those for very quick photo shoots of, like, what I needed for blocking
that's
because my
smart.
drawing is a little slow, so it's like, "Here's my blocking," something complex, like somebody being tied to a bed and the camera's moving around, it's like, "Here, I literally show." It's just using models, it's like the same thing you do in
Yeah,
filmmaking. But
I
it's
like
like
that.
I felt, "Oh, this is how child Jill would work out the scenarios," and it's just like, this is still how
Yeah,
adult Jill, using this physical spatial way of doing things, it just helped me, but it's like, again, everything in filmmaking is fake it till you make it, It's like
yeah,
you literally are faking a script, you're faking a shot list, then you're faking storyboards, then you're doing blocking and rehearsal, and then it's like all the way through, every edit gets better, It's just like
yep,
you can't despair as you're doing all this. You have to, like,
yep.
keep on believing.
Yeah, that's great. That's great too about using the GI Joes. I didn't think of that either. I
They're
can be
they're
terrible
actually
on the
1/6
storyboarding.
scale 1/6 scale, I'll have you know I'm teasing. I'll 1/6 scale is actually action figure, like, more like Barbie, big GI Joe size,
Got
because
it.
it's like I find those more posable because it's like if you use action figures, they mostly are like their points of articulation are limited. Point
Uh-huh.
is, I could get the clothes just right on the 1/6 ones, it's like a good scale for me. There's also a whole world that I unlocked on, like, both eBay and Amazon, where people have, like, little tiny heads of, like, say, like, a Harrison Ford or Christian Bale, like, all these, like, kind of action hero kind of people. You can buy, like, some random head and body to kinda, like, make an actor what looks like your actor, and then it's like buy, like, little costumes or if I'm feeling crazy enough and have the time, I'll sew 'em myself. I'm just saying
Damn.
it's like it's you remember the weird movie Weird Science?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like where they put out the doll, I was like, "Wow, I'm kinda doing that too." Like, it's just like another way of, like, early manifestation of an idea. I'm just saying it's like
I
it
love it.
really There's so many weird things you do as a filmmaker, or as an artist in general, like any theater director, writer, any screenwriter, it's like you have to get across your ideas. And
Yeah,
so for me, it's like it's helpful to have these action figures as well as my stick drawings and everything else, and my AI and all the different ways we can have of telling stories now, including
for sure.
podcasts like this one, John.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, in between features, I started getting into doing dance short films and I started in immersive
Those
theater
are
suddenly.
incredible, like, wet you're doing, like, wet dance theater, like, that's crazy, like, involving water and, shooting that kinda thing, which I've seen because I've seen what you released online with that. It's gorgeous, but it's also incredibly complex to produce, so I'm impressed, you know?
But you can, yeah, I guess my point of saying that, and thank you, was like, switch it up a little bit, right? If you're kind of getting tired of, whatever silo you're in, as far as, there's many different types of film and creative things. So you can play with GI Joes, like Jill, or you can, kind of branch out a little bit. And that really reinvigorated me, like, discovering dance, like, dance on camera stuff, like, was like, "Holy shit, this is, like, a whole world that, naively I didn't know
Oh, it's
existed."
gorgeous. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's literally why I wanted to make a movie about I mean, my movie is about so many different things. It's about, like, how we value life. It's about, like, sex work. It's about strippers, but it's like having dance featured in the movie was, like, an important aspect because it's fascinating that the human body can do certain things, and it's like, it's gorgeous, it's actual cinema, and I was like, "Okay, I can afford to do this. All I gotta do is get gorgeous I've got gorgeous dancers who can do incredible things with their body. Now I've got great lighting. Now I've got great lensing. We're ready to go." It's
Hell
like, this
yeah.
is something I wanna watch, and that's, like, step 1, and it's like, that's I love that you do immersive theater, it's so cool. I'd love to get into that more.
Yeah, I'd love to work with you on as many projects as we can figure out in LA or Pennsylvania. How about, Jill, so we're at the 1 hour mark. Why don't we I know we've kind of said before, but maybe I'll put it on this episode as well, that I think it could be interesting to check in with you in a little bit and invite some of our filmmaking friends and maybe those who are listening to the podcast, and following either of us on socials, invite them into a private chat to ask you questions and check in on the progress of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, or Mr. and Mrs. Smith,
Mr.
Mr.
and
and
Mrs.
Mrs. Death.
Death.
I don't know. What do you think about that idea? And then maybe we can put it out there in a month or two, and
That sounds great. Let's definitely find more people to talk to. I want a whole group worldwide of people who are making movies like this because again, you can make movies anywhere right now with anyone and you don't even physically need to be there necessarily. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like it's like we can port our cameras over and like be able to see what's going on. It's just like there's no limitations on anything anymore, John. So I would
yeah,
love to work with as many people on projects as possible and make as many projects as possible because I'm tired of waiting. It's like
yeah,
waiting to make a movie. Let's start is my thing.
yeah. If you're somebody that's reliable, responsible, dependable, you got that fire in you that we have. Shoot Jill a message, Jill Kill on the socials. Shoot me a message on Cinema Activist or John C. Film, and maybe Jill and I'll start putting together a list, and then we'll send out some invites at some point in time, and whoever can make it to chat with Jill, we'd love to have you. Jill, this has been awesome.
Thank
I
you, John.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing and seeing how Mr. and Mrs. Death is coming along. I'm so excited for it. I'm sure that
It's
everyone that's
it's
listening to
it's
this is
gonna
as
be
well.
amazing. Thank God. My editor, Dana Gasperin's incredible, so it's like we're cooking. We'll have a showable cut probably, like, in about a month or so, like, I'll
Damn.
start getting those on. I don't know, I have to decide, like, how much sound design and music we wanna do before we start showing people, but anyway, we're cooking, so
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear more, and thank you for spending the time with us, and we'll have you back on soon. Thanks everybody for
Thank you.
listening.
Thanks. Er
JillKill.com.